When I was a teenager, I thought psychology was so boring. I didn't even know that it could be easier. It wasn't until I started changing my mind that I started understanding what freedom was.
Hi, I'm Haley. Welcome back.
This is going to be a fun episode. What I wanted to talk about today is why our minds come up with these negative thoughts about ourselves and then we end up thinking them for the rest of our lives. Okay, so the reason our mind does that is it's our survival instinct. We've got this part of our brain that's like the brain of animals. It's the part of our brain that is designed to keep us safe. And when it senses danger, it does things to protect us. It's called the fight, flight, or freeze response. And basically that means we either run away, we fight, or we freeze. And one of those three things is supposed to keep us safe. And it's awesome that we have this part of our brain because if we didn't, we probably wouldn't survive. So if you think of cavemen back in the day, the one that was the most scared would be the one that would have, gathered supplies for the winter and run away when a lion was chasing it. So this part of our brain is awesome, but it kind of causes complications for us. So when I'm stressed, I do everything like a million miles a minute. I'm clumsy because I'm like all over the shop. So that's a survival instinct. That's just the way my brain has been wired to try to deal with stuff. But then I get mad at myself for it. Our mind is in this war. So I'm going to talk about my cats and they're going to help us explain that. Okay, so I've got these two cats, Nala and Kato, who's her son. They're so cute. Warning, I'm a little bit obsessed with my cats. So Nala was found in an alley with a litter of kittens. And they were all like dying and they had no food and they were all sick and like mangy. And she had to totally fend for herself. She learned stuff from that, right? Her brain figured out a way of surviving. The first thing she learned was that she had to roam around to get food for her survival. So she's got this brain that's patterned around, being free, roaming around means you'll be safe. So now she wants to go out all the time. She gets super annoyed when we don't let her out. And she's always wanting to go around and smell things and sniff things. And she's always exploring because that's what kept her safe when she was little. So the second thing that she learned from that experience is that food was scarce. So she had to eat it whenever she could. So now she really likes food. She's always eating. If there's anything that's potentially could remotely resemble food, she wants to know what it is. And the third thing that she learned was that people could give her food. So she is literally the world's friendliest cat. She makes friends with everyone she sees because, again, that's something that's kept her safe. So these are all the things that her little kitten brain figured out. Genius, right? But she keeps doing them now, even though she gets fed at the same time every day by the same people. Her brain just keeps going on automatic. Then, if we look at her son Kato, my other amazing cat, he had the same experience, but he was way littler. He was like so small. He was the runt of the litter. He couldn't roam around to get food. That's definitely not something he learned. He learned that the way he was going to get fed was to sit as close to his mom as possible because she had milk. And so now he literally sits on her all the time. And when she gets annoyed and pushes him away, then he goes and finds another lap to sit on or another lap. It's like he associates safety and comfort with being really, really close to someone, specifically someone who's feeding him. The other thing that he learned is that strangers were potentially dangerous because he was so defenseless. If he encountered another person or an animal, he didn't have a chance. So he's super scared of everyone that doesn't feed him, basically, because that's what he learned. So even though my cats literally share DNA, they're from the same family, they hang out together all the time, they had an experience that was the same when they were young, but because their brains form different ways of coping with it, they have completely different personalities. So we are exactly the same way. Our brain has come up with wacky ways of coping. Think of the things that we do when we're stressed. Like we want to eat weird stuff. Maybe we want to hide in our room. Maybe we yell at people when we're stressed, right? All these things that our mind comes up with. The difference between us and cats, though, is that we also have this part of our brain that's analyzing everything. And so we compare ourselves to everyone else. We have this survival mechanism, but then we get mad at ourselves for it. If we were Kato, we would look at Nala and be like, what's wrong with me? Why am I such a loser? Why can't I even leave the house? And if we were Nala, we'd look at Kato and be like, oh, I'm so fat. I really need to stop eating. The great thing about that is when we know it's our survival instinct, all we need to do is calm ourselves down. Because as soon as we're calm, that fear-based mechanism goes away. Our mind doesn't think it needs to protect us anymore. So it can be really simple things like putting your hand on your chest. That really helps me. It's like taking a really big breath, lying down for a minute, listening to some soft music, having a shower or a bath, like just really simple things that just calm down the survival mechanism. Then we can think clearly again. So all we need to do when we start noticing, okay, I'm totally in survival mode here, is take a breath, calm ourselves down, and then we can access the rest of our brain. Next, I talked to Liv Philand about how the survival mechanism is basically operating all the time and can lead to some pretty unhelpful outcomes.
I had my first ever panic attack.
Thank you for listening.